What's the condition of a Gemini, and how does he or she tackle the problems inherent in that condition?
Well, Gemini is a mutable sign. So Gemini, and it's an air sign. So on one level, Gemini has a lot to do with seeing things from many perspectives. Gemini people are usually quite able to move their thinking around so that they manifest real versatility in their thought process. And Gemini has a lot to do with that kind of thinking. Gemini is also the sign that's most associated with the principle of communications. And all of that's good. And many Gemini people are great with teaching. Many Gemini people are inclined toward writing, literature, that sort of thing. But when we look at this sign from a deeper perspective, and we take the whole subject of communications, one of the great lessons that is learned in Gemini is that when you're on the path, that it's about establishing a different kind of communications. Like right now I'm speaking with you, and in a way I'm doing a Gemini thing and you are with me. We're communicating back and forth. That's Gemini. And we're doing a horizontal communications. You're here, I'm here, we're talking. But the deeper kind of communications that must be established for anybody born in that sign who's on the path is to establish vertical communications, the communications between the soul and the personality. And to do that well, that requires that the personality become really quieted so that the soul can be heard. Because you see the soul speaks in very faint, intuitive whispers. And that's the challenge for Gemini, because they have their busy minds or busy outer lives or both. Being still is one of the most difficult things for Gemini people to do, and yet that's precisely what would be most beneficial to them. We all have these situations where we have thoughts, then another, then another, and then another, then another. So we have back-to-back thoughts. And yet the whole goal of spirituality is to create gaps between thoughts. You know, it has been said that if you want to find the soul deep inside, it's found in the gap between our thoughts. And yet Gemini is the sign most associated with having difficulty finding that gap. I love the idea, as the British would say, mind the gap, but there's a deeper meaning for that. I see it as mind the gap inside, the gap between our thoughts, and right there is the place of spirituality. So Gemini people would be most likely to benefit from meditation from a certain perspective, because meditation is trying to create that gap. We're told that in the ancient literature that the sign of Gemini is the sign that is most responsible for the building of the Antakarana. And the Antakarana is the communication bridge between the soul and the personality. And it doesn't exist naturally. It has to be built over many incarnations. But it's built with deliberateness when three things are adopted in the life: heartfelt service to humanity, developing the higher mind through academic inquiry, and meditation. And so I find there's an irony with Gemini. Gemini people would be the most likely to benefit from meditation more than anybody else, and yet they're the least likely to meditate because of the busy mind. So there's a mantra or a keynote for Gemini that people who are on the path should use to help in slowly quieting themselves. And this could be used in meditation, or it could be used as a daily affirmation. So I'll give you the keynote. And this is a keynote given to us in the Alice Bailey writings. And I should say that this is the soul speaking, okay? Here's the sentence. I see my other self, and in the waning of that self, I grow and glow. Or if I were to embellish it, I, my higher consciousness, I, the best in me, I, the soul itself, see that busy personality, that busy mind down there, and in the waning of it, which is the quieting of it, I grow and I glow. So, again, Gemini, the solution to being more spiritually aligned in Gemini is to get quiet. Stillness is the key.